Okay. So let's just take a moment. Let your eyes take in the entire room in front of you. So that you're seeing everything all at once. Be aware of your periphery. And now do the same thing with your hearing. Use your senses to anchor you into this moment. Let every sound hit your consciousness at once. And with your awareness anchored in this moment, let yourself slow way down. When you slow way down, you actually get to step into the rhythm of this living, breathing moment that you've been overriding with your rushing. Let it all come to a halt so that you can enter this eternal moment. This eternal moment is your center. When you are centered, you are in this eternal moment. When you find the eternal moment, you have found your center. Slow yourself down. Nothing has to happen. There's nothing to achieve. There's nothing to become. So just open up to what is. Let your heart release into it. Can you breathe freely as your authentic self without the need to push or pull, without the need to cover up what's real? The subtle manipulations built into the grooves of your being just as a matter of habit. Can you just let them go? Let them drop to the floor like clothing. They're skewing the energy that moves through your heart, making you uncomfortable. setting up uncomfortable moments for you to live through. Just let it drop to the floor. So you can feel the light of this moment on your skin. So your cells can breathe. Just be what you are. Now bring your experience up to the forehead and crown. Let your authentic self clean that out. Wherever you place your attention, especially when there's no manipulation involved, wherever you place your attention evolves. Become aware of the forehead and crown, not to manipulate it, but just to water it with your awareness. Let it be exactly what it is. At some point, we all have to just let simple things be simple. At some point, we have to wake up from the dream. We have to stop spinning stories so that we can be what we are. So that what we are doesn't get split into a million different pieces to suit whatever filter our stories create for our life. It's like when you've had your head down at a desk for so long, working, that you forgot that there was anything around you. And you suddenly look up and there's a whole world, a window with the outdoors. But you forgot because you were just so hard focused on some separated piece of the big picture. You were so focused on it that you created a world out of it, made it a center, built stories around it, and it gained its own kind of completion, a little skewed mini world. And you've been bopping around it, bumping up against its walls for most of your life. But it's time to look up. Time to step out of the filter. Time to let that makeshift world dissolve so that your energy can move freely again. This is reality. When you're really stuck in the story, this looks like nothing, but it's not nothing. It's just not a story. Mm. It's a vast experience of you, an ocean of consciousness that can become anything. When you know that, really know it in a visceral way where that knowledge is not intellectual, but actually yours, then the stories become part of how you express your freedom and growth. When you don't know that, your stories just become representative of your limitations.
Get that.
And so you have to let go of them. And in doing so, you don't lose anything. You gain the ability to actually enjoy them. I mean, they're not all amazing, but any drama that you stay in of choice. Very different. And you can drop in a moment. Just drop it to the ground. I used to have a teacher who had a saying. She used to say, I like to have my cake and eat it too. And I never understood that back then. I always just thought it sounded like some weird old timey thing to say. Just a little too cutesy for my taste. But I get now what she meant. You don't get to enjoy the stories if they're your prison cell. And you don't have no stories to be free of them. You just have to be free. Then you can pick up anything you want. Take on a challenge if you want. Let it be hard. If it has meaning, if it stops having meaning, you can drop it. Because it wasn't who you are, it was a story you picked up. But the realization requires that you are able to drop it in this moment entirely. All your conjurings, all your manipulations, all your pushing and your pulling, all your defense of who you are has to be dropped so that you can see what you actually are. And you have to steep yourself in it over and over again. just like this. You have to notice how all of the problems in your story, how all the feeling of problematic disappears when you step into this space. You have to see that and recognize that what that means is that the problem is part of the story, not part of reality. When you see that, if you're really bold, you might even start taking on some problems just to train yourself out of viewing everything as so problematic. There's the easy road where you just go begin your life on top of a mountain. And not let life hand you anything to deal with. Or there's the road where you go deeper into the story, knowing it's a story, and disciplining yourself into freedom within the skewed perspectives of the story, weaving your wholeness into the story. Because there's a whole world stuck in the story. That's what this plane of existence is. And you can step into it and shine a light on everything. Any field you're in, you can evolve it. You get gunk caught on you, but you just clean it off because it's not real. The problem is that the road to the greatest awakening is so simple that it doesn't hold most people's interest. Its description isn't fantastical enough. So people listen for 10 minutes and then they leave thinking there's nothing there. At least nothing new. And they're right. What's new is if you actually do it. Actually drop the story and slip deeper and deeper into the present moment meditative state that I've taught you, that I imagine many of us have taught you. It's not some new secret teaching. It's taking the old teaching, but this time actually going there. Even beyond the class. Noticing when you're not there and shifting. Setting a timer to go off every 15 minutes for you to check out where your mind is, what you're caught in, and dropping it. Taking yourself in a hand and really doing it. Not a popular teaching, but it's where it's at. If you can step into that simplicity, the irony is that the reflection on the screen of life as you interact with the story will yield fantastical results. Everything will just blossom and grow. What's growing is the story, but it's reflecting your freedom as it grows. You'll find new little triggers and traps that you didn't know you needed to dismantle. And so your head will go under the water. You're not going to like the way you feel, so you'll do your spiritual work, you'll let go and your head will pop back up. And that'll make new things happen, new growth. Your head will go under again, and you just keep going like that in the story. Just a story. But the growth in that story is reflecting the expansion of your spiritual awareness. So more and more, the story starts to look like what it is, a mirror. In which you can see yourself. If you live the same 5 days over and over again, you don't know you're looking at a mirror. For me to know I'm looking in a mirror, I have to raise my hand and see something change in the mirror. So if you're living out of habit, and most people are, nothing's ever changing. But when you give yourself to your spiritual life, it's a massive volitional change. And you get to see the change in the mirror. And it wakes you up. Once you really see it, you can't unsee it. You'll wake up and you'll realize that you're in a world of people who are completely asleep. The ones that are pulled to you are the ones that have just this little inkling that they need to wake up. And so you water that and teach them how to water it. But it all starts with what if you just put it all down? Slow yourself down, step into this moment, and just let all this crap you've collected drop to the ground. And just notice what's left. What if you make that your home? What if you gently paid enough attention to know when you're there and when you're not? Do you see? Simple. Not really sexy enough to capture anyone's attention. But it's the road out. Are there any questions about that? I hope you can see how simple this is. Decide that you don't need to be entertained, and life will become more entertaining. Accept this moment exactly as it is, and it will start yielding its fruits. For anybody who came in, just know that I can't hear you. You have to put your text in the chat. I don't have speakers right now. I spilled tea on my computer. I don't even like tea. My computer really doesn't like tea. Okay, guys. I think we'll call it a night. Um, if there are no questions, and I will see you next Thursday. But this week, I want you to spend some time taking moments throughout your day to just drop everything, to let it all fall to the ground, and just move from that space. How long can you stay there? How long can you make that your home? Start playing with that this week, and I'll see you next week. All right. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, honey.